Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Morning Mayhem. It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode. Super excited to have you back with us this week. If it's your first time here, welcome to the Mayhem, the madness, the wonder that is the Morning Mayhem. We do our shows every Friday morning at 10 a.m. We cut the segments off into little bite-sized pieces called Morning Nuggets. We release those throughout the week. And I show up on some other podcasts here and there. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But if you are returning, if you've subbed or liked or followed or whatever, hey, I appreciate you. And again, if it's your first time, welcome aboard. Do want to speak real quick about some changes. One, I'm coming through a new audio interface. Last week, you guys saw me mention this guy right here, I want to say. If you want to donate and help out the channel, you are more than welcome to. I am not going to be a beggar. I'm not going to keep this on the screen very long. Do it if you want to. No hard feelings if you don't want to, but it does help out the channel. Things do get kind of pricey, kind of expensive, you know, and not making any money off of it yet. So help a brother out if you want to. Like I said last week, I did have to buy a new webcam not all that long ago, a few weeks ago, a month ago, something like that, because the other one was just kept cutting out. And I was on other people's podcasts and it was embarrassing. Didn't like it. Furthermore, my audio interface had been cutting out, and I mentioned that last week and had to get a new one. Well, I do this wonderful thing called zero interest credit cards, and I really enjoy B&H Photo. I do so much shopping with them. My cinema camera comes from them. My cinema lenses come from them. They have a no interest credit card. If you put a certain dollar amount on there, you can get 6 months no interest. If you put a certain dollar amount more, it's zero interest for 12 months. And so basically I paid off the last bit I had on there, and I said, okay, I need to just do a major overhaul on some stuff. So I did get me a new audio interface. This is what you're listening to me on now. And I got a new graphics card. I'm super, super excited about it. Because the one I have right now has been working just fine for the most part, but I'm editing more 4K footage with the filmmaking stuff that I do. Plus this camera and some of the other stuff I do is a little bit more labor intensive on the video card. I didn't realize that. So this new graphics card is going to help out. I was talking about what I was using, guys. I was using this. Look. Old school, baby. Old school. Not a bad product at all. I mean, I'm not knocking it at all. It lasted a very long time for me. But Firewire. Nobody uses Firewire anymore. Does anybody still use Firewire? I still got a camera, an old mini DV camera. My first camera that I shot a film on runs off of Firewire, and I use this for that, but the computer's got one built into it. But it lasted. I mean, it was old when I bought it. It was used, and, you know, it lasted. It still works a little bit, but I can't trust it. I'm meeting too many awesome people, being on too many other people's streams, and I can't be cutting out like that. But I was using this. Fed from this, an old mixing board that I've had for, oh man, ages. I used to do trivia at places with this little guy. This is not digital, this is analog. But it has gotten me through so many gigs and stuff. I don't remember where all I've used this, but I know I've done trivia with it and some other stuff with it, but great little guy. Had this plugged into that audio interface, and it was cool. I love analog stuff though. I will say I love the analog stuff. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can play with it. But my new one, it's not that bad. Running with this guy now, the Rodecaster Duo. I literally got it today, so I have not played around with it that much. We'll see how it works. So far, so good. What I do like about it mostly is that I can play around with it. I can adjust the EQ and the other settings in there. I can store all kinds of stuff in here, audio files and stuff that I don't have to reach around for on the computer. So cool little tool. I'm just now using it, getting to know it. So a little bit more to come. And like I mentioned, last but not least, I have not hooked this up yet. I'll do this, this weekend, or maybe I'll wait till election night's over with, cause I don't want to accidentally mess something up, but new graphics card, GeForce RTX 3060, baby. This is a 12 gig graphic card right now. I think I'm rocking a, let's see, this is 12 gig graphics. Right now I'm rocking a, where you at? 6 gigs. Why does it not show me anything on my card? Yeah, I'm rocking an old GTX 1660. And again, it gets the job done for the most part. I'm not complaining, but I didn't come on here to brag or anything like that. I mean, this is not, I mean, it's hundreds of dollars, but it's not like thousands and bukus of dollars or anything. But my point to all that is that I love you guys and I am investing in this show, and I am super, super excited to be here with you guys on a weekly basis and sometimes on a nightly basis, it seems like, with some of these folks. But again, this is an investment into the channel. This is an investment into you. This is an investment in what we're bringing out here. And I say we, I'm going to mention some folks here in just a minute. I just want to make sure that you know who all else is out here killing it and doing an amazing job. But before I get into that, this is going to be a shorter show this week. That's kind of why I'm running at the mouth a little bit, I think. But we are in the final stretch, right? Tuesday night's election night. It's the big night. Before Tuesday night gets here, we got obviously the show today, which is Friday morning or whenever you're watching it. Saturday night is going to be off the rails with Third Railify as usual, our live stream there. This week, I believe we have Handy from Handy News over there, and I'm going to talk about them in just a minute. But Handy News, Handy's going to be over there with us, and I call him Handy. I think other people call him Handy. I don't know his actual name. I'm sorry. But he's going to be on there with us. Sunday, we'll probably take off. Maybe. We may find a stream to jump on or something to do just to stay at it. Monday night will be our third Monday Night Mayhem live. It is the first Monday of the month. Just so happens to fall the night before election night. So we will have Monday Night Mayhem live right now, where we've got Third Railify, the Front Porch Conservative. You guys know Brian. I was on his show a few weeks ago. Mentioned him a few times. We also have some members of the Tea Party OGs that are going to be on there. They're another great channel. I highly, highly recommend. And, links to all those guys will be in the show notes down below. Following night will be election night. Tuesday night, we will be over on the Washcast again, as we normally are for like the live debates and everything like that. Of course, that's hosted by Robert Herr. Going to be joined again by Sean of Third Railify. I think Jonathan Hale, if I'm saying that right. Nathan Hale. I don't know where Jonathan came from. Nathan Hill, who is now hosting Spin Cycle Live and doing a fantastic job over there. He's going to be on there too. And I believe there are other people planning on being there as well. So Tuesday night is going to be a wild night. Probably a late night for some of us. I know some people are going to have to dip out. I'm going to have to dip out at some point. I do have a job, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I'm planning on not having a regular show next week. I may do some reactions or something, but I'm going to take a break because this is just a long run right into election night. And who knows, may hop into some of these other vote streams. But do want to take just a quick second and shout these guys out. Man, I'm just so grateful for awesome people out there. Sean of Third Railify, you guys know he brought me onto my very first live stream. I love him to death. That's my buddy. That's my boy. That's my bro. Robert Herr of the Washcast, man. Me and him are so tight. Awesome dude. A couple of channels. Again, you heard me talk about the Tea Party OGs. I've been watching them for a while. They are awesome. They don't put out content on like a daily, but when they put it out, I get the notification. I watch it. They're great. Fantastic. Two other channels that I've been watching recently, and man, they have the hosts of the show and the chat both have just embraced me with open arms. Not only that, but Sean's been in there a little bit too. Third Railify has been getting some love. But want to give a quick shout out to Handy News and Lose Views Podcast, both of which are on Rumble. I know they got some other socials. I'll have those in the show notes below because I want you guys to go check them out. They show me love on the show. They show me love in the chats. They show me love on X. I jumped up to over 100 followers now on Rumble because of these guys. My Twitter followers have gone, I mean, they have really gone above and beyond and out of their way to promote a little guy like me. So I appreciate them so much. And again, some of what all this new equipment is for is so we can take this to the next level and start being on other people's shows, having other people on our show, and just really elevating it to become, bigger than it is now, and give you the absolute very, very best that we can give you. But go follow those guys. You will not regret it. You will go there and you'll be watching for like 2 or 3 minutes and I'm subbing, boop, do it. you're gonna love these guys. Lose views, great. Handy news, fantastic. And of course, the chat makes it even better. I'm telling you, you're gonna want to follow. You're gonna want to sub. Do it. Go over there and just watch for a minute or two, and you're going to want to do it. So go check them out. Again, links are in the show notes below. And look, they're bigger, better, and a lot better looking and easier to listen to than I am. So I promise you will enjoy. So go give those guys some love. I promise I'm not on anything tonight. Again, we're in the final stretch, so I'm just like hyped. I'm getting into it. Guys, again, short show. We're going to go ahead and get into it. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Let's go. All right. So first story I'm going to get into is actually a kind of retread of a story from last week, or kind of a follow-up for a story from last week. You guys remember this story. This was the New York Post. In Logansport, Indiana, kids are being pushed out of schools after migrants swelled county's population by 30%. Everybody else is falling behind. This is the one. I'll scroll down to her. This was, what was her name? Cheyenne. That's right. Cheyenne and other kids, English-speaking kids in class, were getting left behind. Essentially, the teachers didn't have time for them. If they were falling behind, they didn't get any help, any tutoring or anything like that, because all the teachers were focused on the non-English speaking children. Why is that? Well, because the population in that community, and thus in that classroom or those classrooms, skyrocketed. And now the teachers had to change their focus to the non-English speaking kids. Why? There's probably some incentives in that, to be honest with you, but that's what they had to do. I mean, you already know, teachers are short-staffed as is for a large part throughout the country. And so they got to do what they got to do. And so I'm not entirely, upset at the teachers for not being there. I'm upset at the system. Speaking of the system, that takes us into our first story of the day officially. Also from the New York Post, it says Oklahoma schools chief bills Kamala Harris $474 million for education cost, citing illegal immigration. Let's see, it says Oklahoma's top-elected education officials sent a demand letter to Vice President Kamala Harris that essentially served as an invoice for what the illegal immigration crisis under her tenure overseeing the border has cost Sooner State schools. As a statewide elected superintendent of public instruction of the state of Oklahoma and the executive officer of the Oklahoma State Department of Education, it is my duty to ensure that the resources allocated to our public schools are accounted for and used in the most effective manner possible for the benefit of Oklahoma students' education, Ryan Walters wrote to Harris. In August, Walters tasked the department to work with the school district to calculate the financial impact borne by taxpayers on illegal immigrants. Don't forget that, guys. And I'm stressing that because, again, I know election night is coming, and some of you may not have voted yet. Some of you may have been on the fence. Now, to be fair, if you're watching the show, you may not be, and I get that. But you never know. Some people may be on the fence. Don't forget that when these illegal immigrants come over, you call them migrants and be sweet. That's fine. Dreamers, that's cool too. But these illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call them, that are flooding into this country, they are being treated like celebrities almost. They're getting food paid for, housing taken care of, special schooling and education, groceries, all kinds of stuff. Like, here you go. Yeah. But that money comes from the federal government. Federal government doesn't make any money, right? The only money they have is our money. And that's if it comes from the federal government. Now, like in cases like this, the local community, the local governments are having to fund it because it's coming into their local government. If the federal government doesn't kick in and help out, guess what? That burden is restricted to a smaller zone, but at a higher level. Okay, y'all socialist people know how this works. There's fewer people putting in, more people pulling out. Doesn't really work that great. That sounded kind of dirty now that I listened to that again. Emotional damage. Anyways, but this is what's happening. The burden is being passed on to us because we are the taxpayers. It's coming out of the tax dollars. So what happens is as they increase these expenses, increase these needs, meaning the illegal immigrants that are coming in, they're increasing the amount of tax dollars they need to take in. So tax cuts are out of the question. Tax increases are quite possible. And then you look at all the ads that Kamala Harris and her campaign are running. Oh, Trump wants to raise taxes. Trump is going to put tariffs on other countries importing goods to us. That's not a tax. Now, will we pay more for those goods if we choose to continue to buy them? Yes. Should we buy from locally grown and harvested and made and manufactured here in America? Yeah, absolutely. We should have been doing that to begin with. This gives us more of a fighting chance in that. Okay? So I understand that. Kamala Harris just wants to give everybody everything for free, and it don't work that way. It don't work that way. I hate to bust your bubble, but it doesn't work that way. Money's got to come from somewhere. They either got to print it, right, which reduces the significance of the dollar that we have. It reduces the value every single time they print more money, or they got to take more money from us. And they say they're going to go after the millionaires and the billionaires, or maybe it's just the billionaires now because so many of them are millionaires. I can't remember how it is. But mark my word, they're going to come after everybody. Everybody. We'll continue reading. I'm sorry, I kind of went on a rant there. It says that analysis resulted in an estimated $474.9 million, which he demanded of Harris in the letter. Let's see. The demand amount is, by necessity, an estimate because only your administration knows the true number of illegal immigrants crossing this nation's border and the actual cost of illegal immigration, he said, calling for Harris to conduct a potentially more accurate accounting of the cost incurred by Oklahoma schools. So that's the guy. Ryan Walters. Yeah, that's the guy. Kudos to you, dude. Like a boss. Coming in and saying, hey, we're having to foot the bill because you can't get your together. We ain't doing that. Ain't doing that. I like it. And I like it. He's got my vote. And I'm not in Oklahoma. He may be a trash person. I don't know. He may be the most wonderful person in the world. But for this is a boss move. I like it. It says, under your supervision, the costs in education due to illegal immigration have risen astronomically. No question about that. Everything has risen astronomically under this administration, but that's a side point. Your failed oversight and efforts are a direct cause of the current crisis Oklahoma and other states now face. Oklahoma taxpayers, schools, teachers, and parents should not bear the burden of your failings. They deserve better, just like I was saying. In a Tuesday interview, Walters said the border crisis is crippling Oklahoma schools and that paying for these minors' education is the largest unfunded mandate in the country. He said Oklahoma has been the first state to both calculate the education cost of the border crisis and to actually bill the Biden-Harris administration for the fiscal disparity. All right, so you guys get the point there. Again, I think most of you guys that are watching this are already kind of made up your minds on who you're voting for. You're not really fence sitters. Again, maybe I got someone watching that is. Nothing is for free. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. You know, whether it costs you time or money or something, there's always a cost to everything. We see all these handouts going to illegal migrants, illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, call them what you will. All that funding comes from somewhere. It comes from us, the taxpayers. Now, they're not billing us anymore for it yet, but it's coming. It's absolutely coming. So keep that in mind when you go to the poll. If you hadn't already early voted, because I think early voting is probably done for most states. I don't imagine they're running it up right now, but early voting is probably done. So if you haven't early voted, you're going to be voting Tuesday. Keep that in mind when you go vote Tuesday. Do I want to pay for more of my stuff and keep more of my money? Or do I want to give up more of my money so I can pay for other people's stuff that don't even belong here? I think the choice is simple. Moving on to the next story, guys. Let's take a look at this one. This is kind of a twisty in this one, I'll say. It's got a couple twists and curves because I feel like this is a duh kind of story. Like this is the way it should be, but it's a big issue. I don't know. But we're talking about the Washington Post, right? Which is a news outlet, newspaper, article, whatever, online, blah, 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 blah. Old school stuff. Good for them for holding on. But Jeff Bezos owns it, of Amazon, right? So Jeff Bezos defends Washington Post non-endorsement after subscribers flee and staffers resign. Pray tell, Chris, what are you talking about? Well, the Washington Post, a news outlet, decided not to endorse either candidate. Now, come back here for a second. A news outlet decided not to endorse either candidate. So I take you back to my moment a second ago. Yeah, they shouldn't. If you want to be considered a reliable news source, and try not to let your bias show so much, and come across to your readers as someone they can actually turn to and find, fairly based facts instead of just opinion pieces and your own political bias, and actually find something that they can learn from, engage into, and just really get the most out of, you shouldn't be endorsing a candidate. You shouldn't be funding a candidate. You should be a freaking news source straight down the middle as much as possible. I do that. Sean at Third Railify does that. Robert Washcast does that. Lose Views Podcast does that. Handy News does that. Party OGs do that. Significantly better than most of these mainstream guys. Now, we all got our bias, and trust me, if you watch any of our shows, our bias is quite apparent, either on what we say or what you see around us, because Lord knows if you see an American flag, they got to be a far-right extremist or something, right? Our bias is there. Our bias is on display. Our bias is out in the open. We don't try to be something we're not. At the same time, each one of our channels and more, you go bigger, you go Crowder and Bongino and, I don't know, Benny Johnson, Daily Wire stuff, all these guys. You find more actual fact. You find the meat of the story. You don't just find the fluff that mainstream media throws out there. We're not out here trying to pretend that we're something we're not. We are all trying to be a positive voice on a more restricted side of free speech, which is the conservative side right now. I think, what was it? Joe Rogan said it. Was it Joe Rogan that said? I know it was when Trump was on Joe Rogan. I think it said to be. It was punk rock to be a conservative. I think was the quote, something along those lines. But it is. We're the ones bumping the system right now, so we can't sit idly by and allow stuff to happen. I mean, we all got to do what we can do. This is what I can do. You may be able to do something different. But all those people that I spoke about earlier, all those links down in the show notes below, go support those people, because whether they're making any money or not, they're giving up their time. Time is something that you can't get back. You can make money back, but you can never get your time back. Time that you take away from your family, time you take away from sleeping, time you take away from growing a more, brick and mortar traditional business or whatever it may be, to do something like this, to spend time with you all, to help try their best to educate and empower the people out here in the world that are seeking the truth. Those people deserve the love. Those people deserve the respect. Those people deserve the support. So again, that's why I push them on you guys. Go check them out in the show notes below. Again, don't sub and like and follow instantly just because I said so. And I don't think they would be upset at me saying that. Go listen to them. See if there's someone that you want to support. I guarantee you that they are. Okay? But that's how it's supposed to be. Support the little guy. The little guy's doing all the hard work. These guys right here, they shouldn't be endorsing candidates. You lose so much credibility. We'll just kind of skim through it real quick. I'm not going to read this whole thing. You guys get the point. I went off the rails there for a second. Sean's rubbing off on me, I guess. Let's see. The Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos, in his first public comment since igniting uproar last week over his decision to withhold the newspaper's endorsement in the presidential race. I can say that word. It's just right now I can't. I don't know. Newspaper's endorsement of the presidential race defend the move in a rare op-ed published Monday evening by the Post. Presidential endorsements do nothing to tip the scales of an election, Bezos, the billionaire Amazon founder, wrote. I don't know if that's necessarily true. No undecided voters in Pennsylvania are going to say, I'm going with newspaper A's endorsement. None. What presidential endorsements actually do is create a perception of bias. A perception of non-independence. Ending them is a principled decision, and it's the right one. It's a great statement. It's a solid statement. Look, love him, hate him, like him, whatever. This guy's got TDS. He does not like Trump. He probably doesn't like Elon because I think they're both trying to, get to space and do all that stuff, right? Keep throwing my arm up and seeing my cuts. My dad used to have cuts and bruises on his arm and stuff all the time because he was a mechanic and worked with his hands, and he didn't want me to do that. He's like, I want you to work with your mind, with your brain, be strong, be smart. So all the cuts and bruises and scars and stuff I have on my hands and my arms either come from cooking or 100-pound pit bull. But that was love. That was just love. We was just playing. He's just a big old goofy boy. He didn't mean to hurt Daddy. 100-pound little tank bowling ball just bounce around with, sharp claws on him, nails, whatever. I love him. That's my boy. Anyways, back to this. Again, ADD kicking in here. Again, this is what it's supposed to be like. If Bezos doesn't like these guys, that's great. He's standing on what sounds like principle here. Maybe it's an awakening. Maybe he's scared of something that's coming down the pipeline if Trump gets in office and what he's wanting to do with these, news organizations. I don't know. But I agree. Jeff Bezos, this is the right move. You shouldn't be endorsing anybody. Let's keep news. Let's, try to keep the bias and the hate and the misinformation out of there as much as possible. It's going to happen some. But again, right move, right direction. Hats off to you, big guy. All right, let's go on to the next one. And this will be our last story today. Again, I say a short show today, but I've been rambling a lot. I'm in a good mood. I think that's Handy News and Lose Views podcast put me in a good mood. Those guys are awesome. I'm just tickled. Absolutely thrilled with those guys. Go support them. Over in the Daily Mail, who we love, we adore, it's great. We see good old Nikki Haley popping back up in the headlines here. It says Nikki Haley gives brutal take on Madison Square Garden rally as former UN ambassador remains on standby for Trump. No. Look at me. Come here. No. It says, Nikki Haley gave a surprising take on Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally Tuesday night while claiming she's on standby to help rectify an overly masculine campaign. Haley, who received more Republican primary votes than anyone who challenged Trump, has endorsed the former president but has yet to appear on the trail for him. For obvious reasons, I think. She will be in Pennsylvania Wednesday, but for Senate candidate Dave McCormick. In an interview Tuesday, she didn't mince words with how the... Is it weird when you read something and it sounds so right and you realize you've been saying something so wrong? I would have said she didn't mix words in my ex. I thought the saying was, I'm not going to mix words. But I guess it's mince words. Live right now, you guys are seeing me learning something. But that happens on a regular basis because I'm kind
of retarded.
Anyways, in an interview Tuesday, she didn't mince words with how the controversial event in New York went, especially comic Tony Hinchcliffe's Hinchcliffe's joke about Puerto Rico as an island of garbage. Again, if you know the subtext there, the context, the actual fact of what's going on in Puerto Rico, it wasn't far off. This bromance and this masculinity stuff, it borders on edgy to the point that it's going to make women uncomfortable, Haley said. Then why are so many women supporting Trump, you dumbass? Sorry. She added that Republicans were right to denounce the joke, saying it wasn't about being overly sensitive. Yeah, look, I like Tony. In fact, the guy that from my hometown, he's in the Kill Tony Hall of Fame. I'm trying to get him on the show. Would love to get him on the show. David Lucas, who is absolutely hilarious. We're friends on some social media. We've talked a little bit. He instantly came out and defended Tony. You know, he thinks the world of him. I think David's awesome, and it just shows like this isn't a bad guy. This isn't a bad guy. He's an edgy comedian. I'm not 100% sure they should have had him there to begin with for what he does. I mean, he's like the edgiest of edgy out there. I mean, it's like bringing Bill Burr on stage. You know what I'm saying? But I do like him. He is funny. I didn't think it was the greatest joke. And then I don't think that was necessarily the greatest place to tell that joke. But at the same time, I don't think it was that bad. Maybe I'm just numb to some stuff. I don't know. Maybe I just got my own trauma to deal with. Anyway, she added the Republicans were right to denounce the joke, saying it wasn't about being overly sensitive. Oops, scrolling too much. God, she just, look at her. I might make that the thumbnail picture. I don't know. She's something else, ain't she? She's a piece of work. Anyways, let's get on through here. Oh, speaking of a piece of work, did y'all see Melania come out in Madison Square Garden? Beautiful. Spoke eloquently. I mean, I know she's, not from here, so there's that element of it too. It actually makes it a little sexier. But man, what a rally. Only thing, now Lee Greenwood was there, so he sang live, proud to be an American and everything like that. If he wasn't there, this is Madison Square Garden. I'm thinking WrestleManias. They had Hulk Hogan there. I was expecting Trump to come out to the Undertaker theme here. If there was ever a place, this is where I would have thought it would have happened. But hey, man, if you got Lee Greenwood on stage singing, dude, man, you can't beat that. Can't beat it. This is not a time to have anyone criticize Puerto Rico or Latinos, Haley, the former ambassador to the UN under Trump, said. Haley is also worried about how Republicans are getting their message out to women. I think it's harmful, she said. There's no reason to have a comedian at an election campaign event that had so much election campaign event that had to that ain't me. See, I'm not the R-tard here. There's no reason to have a comedian at an election campaign event that had so much election campaign event that had so much. I'll see that. All right, cool. It has so much energy and so many good issues. Why have a comedian that separates the people? Now, I don't know if the jokes were vetted or not. I would assume probably not. If it was a Democrat one, probably so. And I can see where Tony's joke may have been off-putting for some folks. But I don't think they came up with the idea like, hey, let's get a comedian out here that's going to really just piss some people off. She cited an ad by a super PAC run by Elon Musk calling Kamala Harris the C word, and a cut joke from Hinchcliffe set that planned to call the vice president the same word. That is not the way to win women. This is not the way to win people who are concerned about Trump's style, she said. Haley says that Harris is there for the taking by choosing liberal Tim Walz over moderate Josh Shapiro for her running mate. She said, however, that she's still fully behind Trump after saying on her radio show earlier this week that she's on standby for him. Look, he don't need you. He don't want you. Even women didn't like you. The only reason that you were getting the votes like you were, and we've covered it on this show, were because so many of those elections, right, were open to anybody. It wasn't just Republicans that you didn't just have to be declared Republican. Democrats were going in there and voting for her. We know that. We've seen that. We played the video clips. I'm not going to do it again now. That's the only reason that you got as many votes as you did. You are a disgusting woman, a deceitful woman, a manipulative woman, and you are part of the problem. And it's not because you are a woman that you're part of the problem. You just happen to be a woman who is also part of the problem. Okay? Look, I'm going to be 100% transparent. There's stuff Trump does that I agree with. There's stuff Trump does I disagree with. There's stuff that people around Trump do that I think are awesome. There's stuff that people around Trump do I think is dumb, unproductive, stupid even. But at the end of the day, do I want people that make mistakes and have their heart in the right place? Or do I want someone who has no heart and know how to put on the glitz and glam and make you think they're on your side? I'm sorry, I'm going for Trump. I mean, it's a done deal for me. Say what you want. He ain't perfect. He's never going to be perfect. He's never been perfect. I'm going for Trump. That's all there is to it. Well, guys, that's the show. I do want to kind of close out again, kind of remind you of what we got coming up this week. Again, this is the final push into election night. So just a reminder, got the show today. We got Saturday Night Off the Rails over on Third Railify's channel, which will also have handy news on there, which is so awesome because love that guy. Awesome. After that, we've got Monday Night Mayhem. This will be our third one. Super stoked about this. It'll be our third Monday Night Mayhem live stream from my channel, from this channel. So stay tuned for that. We do right now have confirmed Third Railify, Brian from the Front Porch Conservative, and I can't remember if it's all or some of the Tea Party OGs. But they are confirmed, and we may have some more that are hopping on as well. And I don't want to say who, just in case they don't, but we may have some more folks that are hopping on as well. It's going to be an awesome live stream just before election night to kind of get us ready for that one. Then we have election night, which is going to be over on the Washcast with Robert Herb. We're going to be over there with him, Sean from Third Railify, myself again, Nathan Hale, and other people are slated to be on there as well. And it is going to be a long stream. It's going to be a long stream. Some of us may come in, may hop out, may tag out for somebody else. We might check in on another channel. We may disappear. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea, but I do have a job to get to. So we shall see how long that's going to go. But it's going to be a late night there, I would say. Then again, I won't be doing my regular show next week. I may even holler at some of these guys and see about hopping on their channels, or may do some more reaction videos. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got coming up. So guys, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. We got a little meter right here, our march to 1,000 subs over on YouTube. We're getting very, very close on that. Thank you to all those that have subscribed. If you're one of the 85% of the people that are watching the videos and not subscribing, maybe help a brother out. It would be great. Just saying, great to hit 1,000 before the end of the year. That would be cool. It's not a must. It's not something we have to do by any means. I'm not going to become a millionaire if I hit 1,000 subs. I just think it's a really cool goal, honestly. So shooting for that right there. Thank you again for getting us over 100 followers on Rumble. Again, shout out to Lou's Views Podcast and Handy News. You guys have really, really pushed that over, and just I think the world of you for that. Thank you so much. Also, if you do want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee right here. You can scan this QR code or click on the link in the show notes down below. Again, I think 95% or whatever that you donate does come to the channel, and they just keep a little bit for their process. They are one of the better ones for sure to do that. But yeah, that's if you want to. That helps us out. Like I said, buying this new equipment does cost money, so help a brother out if you can. If not, no big deal. Again, not going to be a beggar. Before we go, I'm going to close this out with a little video just as a reminder. Again, as we're kind of rounding this curve, we're coming out of turn 4, heading down the front stretch here. We see the finish line is in sight just as we're coming up to the election night. I want to close with this, a reminder of what President Joe Biden, our current seated president, says about half of the current population.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is just supporters. his demonization of things is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Trump supporters are garbage. How do you like that? Guys, we won't see you next week. We'll see you on all those other shows that we mentioned. And don't forget to get out there and vote. Don't forget to get out there and vote. We'll see y'all next time.
Dr. Scholl makes foot products. And he's a doctor, so he went to school for a long time. But it doesn't take a lot to figure out that stepping on a cushion will be more comfortable. That guy wasted lots of time at school, because I'd have bought that shit from a Mr. Scholl. Maybe even a Senor Scholl.